The conflict in Kingstown is intensified in this penultimate episode of Season 4, which builds to the finale. On Sunday, December 21, 2025, at 12 a.m. Pacific Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Time, which falls on Monday, December 22 in various time zones, the episode will debut. Only accessible with Paramount Plus streaming. It requires a subscription to watch. New episodes are released every week. Mike McLusky, Jeremy Renner, risks everything to save his brother Kyle after a tragedy strikes close to home. In the meantime, growing hostilities within the prison drive matters to a breaking point, necessitating important choices and intensifying the mayhem. This episode delves deeper into Kyle's declining mental state amid family tragedy, escalating power struggles between factions like the cartel and local operations, following the events of Episode 8, Belleville, where the city and jail are on the verge of collapse. The McLusky brothers' emotional stakes, prison corruption under Warden Nina Hobbs, and major confrontation setups in the climax are all to be expected. It is characterized as a complex, poignant episode that quickens the plot's resolution. In Episode 7, following Merle Callahan's escape from Anchor Bay, Mike rushes around Kingstown in an attempt to eliminate him before he reaches him. Merle didn't want to take Mike's life, which was unfortunate for Mike, Kyle, and Tracy. Instead, he wished to make his misery worse. All I could think about during the terrifying scene of Callahan at Tracy's house was the conversation between Mike and Tracy in Season 4, Episode 5, where Tracy informs Mike that everyone he tries to protect dies. There was never much chance that she would escape that chamber, even as she pleaded and argued with Merle in her last moments, eager to give up Mike in order to save herself and her kid. Merle is simply too callous and cruel to be merciful, especially because he already believed that Tracy's murder was essential. This episode's plot concept reminded me a lot of The Dark Knight. Mike is breaking the law to protect justice by finding Merle and probably killing him. But Merle was already a few steps ahead, just like the Joker was to Batman when he attempted to preserve Rachel's life over Harvey's. Although it is odd that Mike didn't think to call Tracy when he learned Callahan was at large, there was practically nothing he could do to save her at that point. Kyle will undoubtedly lose faith in Mike as a result of this event, just as Merle intended. Mayor of Kingstown Season 4, Episode 8 recently proved who the most epic villain in franchise history is after he wreaked absolute havoc on Mike and Kyle with cold calculation and brutal execution. Given the numerous threats Mike has encountered in Mayor of Kingstown Seasons 1 to 3, including Callahan, that's saying something. Since his initial appearance in the Season 3 opener, Callahan has been patiently awaiting his chance to strike revenge on Mike. After all that he had done to keep Mike safe while he was confined, Kyle's incarceration was the ideal opportunity for him to send Mike a message about abandoning the AB and feeling disrespected. Even after being shielded by Merle, Kyle refused to accept his olive branch. Beyond his own distorted sense of fairness and balance, it's difficult to determine exactly what Callahan desires in a larger sense. He highlights that it's not personal when he informs Tracy that he has no choice but to kill her. This is an example of his warped moral compass. If anything, it's a really primitive gesture that confirms Merle's authority and supremacy. In order to balance the score, Mike messed with the wrong guy, who will do what almost everyone else won't. The sequence itself was straightforward, gloomy, and unapologetic, much like Merle's motivations for killing Tracy. One of the most terrifying situations in the series was watching Merle nonchalantly explain to Tracy why he must kill her as reality set in. This scenario felt unsettlingly genuine, especially knowing where Merle was coming from, shooting Tracy with the crosshairs on Mike, because there was no backing music to heighten the emotional impact, no exaggerated language, and no artificial emotional outbursts. Mike and Nina enter Anchor Bay at the end of Season 4, Episode 8, implying that Mike will tell Kyle the news. This is probably where we'll start up in next week's penultimate episode, and it might be how Mike manages to get Kyle out of prison in the end. He strikes a bargain with Nina to locate Merle and return him to the prison, or else her tenure as warden will be in jeopardy. Mike would accept Nina's demands in order to win Kyle back, but if he finds Merle, there's no chance he would let him live. Tracy's death just takes over the entire series plot, regardless of whether Kyle is still incarcerated or not. This could allow Frank Moses and the cartel more room to pursue their own goals while Mike deals with Callahan. With 2 episodes remaining in Mayor of Kingstown Season 4, Mike is still surrounded by a great deal of strife. Getting Kyle out permanently should be his first objective, but after losing Robert and Tracy in consecutive episodes, I have a feeling that Mike and those close to him may experience even more sorrow before the Season 4 finale.